Yeah, welcome to Saturday, March 21st. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are at it again. Today we will be doing Rewrite the Greats. I've been doing this series for over a year now, and I'm having a blast with it. More importantly, we are going to be specifically working on A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. The Maas! If you don't know who Sarah J. Maas is, you could look it up. she's she's as we would call an author, and she has written a few books, and those books have been quite successful. I was told today though that people go crazy over those books. I didn't know, but so what is the deal with today? Am I like going, hey, Sarah J. Maas can't write? No. Today is about author voice. That's right, author voice, okay? The whole goal of this series is not to show you, hey, look at me, I can write. It's to show you how to look at a piece or to understand plot, narrative, character, etc., and then re-envisioning the unfolding of it in your voice as an author. We will be using my voice as the example. So just so you understand, I prefer to write in third person or cinematic third person limited rotating lens, usually with a lyrical clarity. However, everything I do today is not to say that obviously Sarah J. Maas is bad or good. This has nothing to do with her writing style. We are gonna analyze it, look over it, because we have to understand what the plot is. We're gonna read it. We're gonna do some prose analysis. I'm so sorry. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to take some beats and I'm gonna rewrite it how I would see it unfolding in my mind. Again, it is author voice, and I hope you feel comfortable asking me questions about it to help you with your own author voice. But also, it's a really fun exercise. So at the end of the day, if you want to take the first beat or the first passage and rewrite it in your own voice in the comments, not the live comments, but the after comments, feel free to. However, this exercise is not an exercise in writing pretty words. It's an exercise in unfolding the plot and characters through their emotional experiences and choices in the style of your choice, like how you would write, how you would look through the lens of these characters. With that said, let's say hi to everyone real quick, and then we will jump into the fray. Flowers, what is up? Thank you so much for coming by and saying hi. You know, always much love for you. SB is over here at the spa getting her nails done. I'm a little jealous. I could use a little something on my fingers today. They're feeling a little something down, you know. Oh, ciao bello. Oh, salve, mia amica. What is up, Emma? And of course, everyone's saying hello, hello, flowers. Emma, hey, Mallows. What's up, my friend? Thanks for stopping by. I always love seeing you on. All right, let's get to it. Boop, 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 boop. We got to share the screen. Okay. Oh, first things first, by the way, if you don't know, there is a poll. Today's poll is more about how to curate the channel a little bit more. So what videos do you want more of? Do you want more outlining videos where I give explanations of how to outline and understand narrative while also showing more examples? Are you looking for character development and dialogue where I basically show how to move narrative through a character, how to create those characters, how to develop positions, and how to organize their dialogue? Do you want real-time writing examples? Which is a little different than what I'm doing on Sundays, where it was just, I will just take simple, I would go, this is what world building looks like, or this is what, sensory elements look like, and this is, that's what that is. And then, of course, prose and analysis breakdowns, which is what we're kind of doing today. We are going to break down a little bit of the prose, and then we're going to write and stuff like that. I have the Prose of the Prose series where I basically have been doing that, but I don't have as many videos this year lined up. However, I could change that. That's not a big deal. I do like analyzing. Okay, so we'll discuss that at the end of the hour. What do we got here? Oh, Sean, what's up? Seanatron. All right, let's do it. We're going to first read, and then we're going. What I like to do is I like to do a soft outline, basically, like of how I'm going to really approach it. But oh, if you don't know, this book is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I believe it's the first book in the series. I could be wrong on that. And it came out, I think, 2015, something like that. Uh, oh yeah, it's on the screen. Ha ha, yeah, ha ha, ha ha ha. All right, so there you go. This book became a massive success. There are multiple books in the series. I think she just came out with another one, right? She's aren't they on like 6 books or something like that? I don't know. She's flying through it. She's killing it. She's congratulations, Sarah J. Maas. All right. Again, just for anyone out there, this is for educational purposes only. It is only the first, what is this? 300 words, maybe? Maybe. Let's see. It's the first 350 words. It's basically the first page. We're not going into great detail on the plot. Is just we are looking over what the first page is. I am not trying to say I am better than anybody. I'm just doing this as an exercise, hopefully to inspire people, because I aspire to inspire others to practice, to look at things, to break things down. Because reading, you know how they say you got to read to be a good writer? It's not just the reading. It's the analyzing. It's looking at it. It's making sense of choices. It's trying to catch where people are breaking rules, because they say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, right? There's always, quote unquote, right of rules. Well, as you'll see, lots of people break the rules. Okay, let's get into it. The forest had become a labyrinth of snow and ice. I'd been monitoring the parameters of the ticket for an hour, and my vantage point in the crook of a tree branch had turned useless. The gusting wind blew thick flurries to sweep away my tracks, but buried along with them any signs of potential quarry. Hunger had brought me farther from home than I usually risked, but winter was the hard time. The animals had pulled in, going deeper into the woods than I could follow, leaving me to pick off stragglers one by one, praying they'd last until spring. They hadn't. I wiped my numb fingers over my eyes, brushing away the flakes clinging to my lashes. Here there were no telltale trees stripped of bark to mark the deer's passing. They hadn't yet moved. They would remain until the bark ran out, then travel north past the wolves' territory and perhaps into the fairylands of where no mortals would dare go, not unless they had a death wish. A shudder skittered down my spine. A shudder skittered down my spine at the thought, and I shoved it away, focusing on my surroundings, on the task ahead. That was all I could do, all I'd been able to do for years, focus on surviving the week, the day, the hour ahead. And now, with the snow, I'd be lucky to spot anything, especially from my position up in the tree, scarcely able to see 15 feet ahead, stifling a groan as my stiff limbs protested at the movement. Oh, that's a good line. I unshrugged my bow. Unstrung? Oh, unstrung my bow before erasing all the tree, or easing off the tree. Jesus! Where are my glasses? I can't get okay. Don't make fun of the glasses. All right. The icy snow crunched under my fraying boots, and I ground my teeth. Low visibility, unnecessary noise. I was well on my way to yet other fruitless hunt. Woo! Only a few hours of daylight remained. If I didn't leave soon, I'd have to navigate my way home in the dark, and the warnings of the town hunters still rang fresh in my mind. Giant wolves were on the prowl, and in numbers. Not to mention whispers of strange folks spotted in the area. Tall and eerie and deadly. All right. Oh, what we got here? We got some people. Hey, what's up, Richard? Welcome to the show. What's this about? Gnome fingers? Richard, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hot is this so far? I don't know. Pretty hot. Pretty hot. All right. Couple things. Let's break it down and talk about it. So, hey Afghani, what's up, my friend? Afghani. I'm under the impression, as per of the verbiage, it's in first person, clearly. It is had been gusting wind blew thick blue, but buried along the hunger had. Okay, so it's in past tense, going deeper into the woods than I could follow, leaving. Okay, I wiped. All right, so it's past tense. Excellent. Hey, Afghani. All right. The other thing is she's in the tree. She's in a tree. She's in a forest. Had become a labyrinth of snow and ice. This is a nice. We'll get to that. They hadn't. Okay. She's hunting. She's hunting. Okay, for survival, and she is far off from where she has to go. Only a few hours of daylight remain. If I didn't leave soon, I'd have to navigate my way home. All right, a couple things that's working. Why I feel this book, just my first opinion. The reason I feel this book is a strong book. And I, by the way, I haven't read this book yet. But this is a good strong line. The forests have become a labyrinth of snow and ice. It already is putting an image in your head. They say a strong, good line, you know. My favorite genre, I'm sure. It puts a big, strong image in your head before we even get to it. It's a statement of reality, right? But I also like, by the end of the first page, we're already in a sense of conflict, right? What moves a narrative? What creates engagement? It's conflict. You set up and then you add conflict. We know she's been waiting, or this, I believe it's a she, but the character has been waiting for a hunt, waiting for a deer, right? Okay, they've been there for a while, otherwise their fingers would not be numb. They're wiping their hands, whatever it is, right? And then they're like, I have to get something soon, so stakes, or it's going to be difficult for a few hours daylight remained. If I didn't leave soon, I'd have to navigate my way home. It's very clear, the stakes. If I didn't leave soon, I'd have to navigate my home in the dark, and the warnings of the town hunters still rang fresh in my mind. Giant wolves were on the prowl and in numbers. What is your favorite genre? Probably sci-fi, right? All right. So before we even get off the first page, there's already conflict. There's conflict, there's stakes. We know the clock has been set. You know, I always talk about the clock has been set, right? So the clock has been set. It's because only a few hours of daylight remains. So I either have to get my meal or I have to start going home. So I get it. I get it. But let's look at this. So this is the first line. Anyway, I've been monitoring the parameters of the thicket for an hour, and my vantage point in the crook of the tree branch had turned useless. All right, I'll give some of my my thoughts too. This, again, I'm not used to writing in first person. I'm going to try to write this in third person limited, but I will say this. This is the thing that I worry about when I'm writing in first person. This to me feels like the character is talking to someone. Is this the real life, or is this just romantic? Is this the real life? Is this just romantasy? Caught in a dragon's mouth. All right. I'm not. By the way, my critique is I am not critiquing on her. Right. I'm talking about my author voice and how I make choices. Okay. So one of the things I try to avoid is whenever it feels like it is more of a commentary to the invisible reader. I'm not saying that's bad. Again, this is all about author voice. So we have to make choices to create it. Well, you know, I got it sometimes. We To find your author voice, you have to make choices. You have to decide on things that you want and things you don't want. Can that change? Absolutely. Always feel free to change your choices. Though in a book, as you get closer and closer to the end of a book you're writing, you should definitely solidify some of those choices. And then when you go back to your first draft or second, because if you're doing a zero draft, if you go back to your first or second draft, you should start implementing a lot of the choices from that third act, because you should really have it solidified, like your choices by the third act. So what you're doing in the third act should be what you go back to the first act all the way back through for the first or second draft. and you start adding those choices, and that helps develop your voice. It is hello. All right. The gusting wind blew thing. Now you know how they say, you shouldn't use ing words. Well, this is fine. The gusting wind blew thick flurries to sweep away my tracks, but buried along with them any signs of potential query. I like with is used well here. This is a good with. You're joyful. I am good point today. Okay. All right. So all right, this feels like they're talking to somebody who's not there, right? I'd been monitoring the perimeters of the thicket for an hour, and my vantage point in the crook of a tree branch had turned useless, right? The gusting wind blew. This has to happen because the narrative is foaming through. So the way I might approach this if I was writing first person, I would have the gusting wind be a direct response to what they're dealing with internally. You know, the gusting wind blew thick flurries to sweep away my tracks. I would say, maybe the gusting wind swept away my tracks, burying, and then maybe have like a commentary on it, like they're working through it, they're processing what this means. The gusting wind, all right, the winds, or the gust of wind, swept away my tracks, but whatever, the signs, my whatever. I'm trying to think first person. I'm going to be writing in third person, but obviously I would have to do the work to get to that point. But my point is, I try to write first person with things happening to the character or through the character. Too much talk on the wind. Well, that now we're getting to a feels generic. Well, I mean, that's why it's sold, right? No, I'm just joking. The point though is they made a choice, But I don't think this is too much on the wind because she jumps to the next point. Hunger had brought me further from home than I usually risked, but winter. No, I don't think it's too much on the gusting wind because we have to. It's logical narrative movement, right? The forest became a labyrinth of snow and ice. Okay, right. So let's talk about it. I've been monitoring the parameters of the thicket for an hour, and my vantage point in the crook of a tree branch had turned useless. Now they're going the logical narrative movement is that it's explaining the ice and snow, right? The forest being covered ice and snow. This is explaining how that looks. The point of the crook of the tree branch had turned useless, right? But we were talking about how long she's been there, so monitoring the parameters for as long, and my vantage point. So she's really expanding on vantage point. What is she noticing in that vantage point? The gusting wind blew thick. So you know what I'm saying? I feel that very opening line is redundant. All right. The forest had become a labyrinth of snow and ice. Well, snow is not the same as ice. Snow is the covering element, ice is the frozen aspect. So snow becomes the texture of the ground or what is covered. Ice can freeze over a tree. Ice can hang in sickles, right? So she's explaining that it is so cold that not only is there snow, but it is so cold that there's also ice. So I wouldn't say it's redundant per se, but I've been monitoring. Okay, anyway, hunger had brought me further than. All right, the animals. By the way, I do this so I could see the sentence links. Ooh. But winter was the hard time. Now, the reason spell check is suggesting A is because the article here it feels that it should be a hard time, but this is a this is a position that the character's creating. So the winter was the hard time. It's turning hard time into something more solid. It's solidifying hard time and giving it some sort of weight, right? So sometimes you're going to see spell check. This is another thing, like especially if you're starting to write or you're in your first book or even your 15th book. When you're looking at spell check, sometimes spell check is going to suggest things that aren't necessarily weighing out what it is you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it might see a capital letter or it might see a like one of the moons in my epic fantasy is called Fate, and every once in a while it's like Fate is spelled wrong, and it's like, yeah, it isn't spelled wrong, right? But also your choices. So the way you go through it, you have to realize that sometimes spell check or grammar check isn't necessarily accurate. The animals had pulled in, going deeper into the woods than I could follow, leaving me to pick off stragglers one by one, praying they'd last until spring. Until there's spring. They hadn't. Okay. Okay. All right, a couple things here. We already know that one of my favorite things about writing is less exposition, more seeding, more letting it flow through. But I don't think this is a lot of exposition. So this is a position that the character's taking. Their position is that the animal going through, leaving me to pick up the stragglers, praying they'd last until spring. So this is their position. They have a belief that they might not have enough food and they need enough food. So already, like if I was developmental editing this, that would be a note I would put down. Like, why is she concerned? Why is the character concerned about food, right? And then as I'm reading, I'll continuously be looking for survival elements. I would continuously be looking for food elements. I'd be continuously looking on how are we building on that? How are we challenging that? How is it affecting the character? I have a fatigue of this type of first person. Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Again, I'm just venturing into first person with the sci-fi and the noir. It's I personally enjoy third person limited. Occasionally, I don't mind an omniscient, but writing has changed over the years. I just don't like how it feels like commentary. That's the only thing. I like movement, even though you can have movement through thought. Uh, but I like that it goes back and forth. Like I wipe my nut. I might see like something like this. I might say, my numb fingers, or I scrape my eyelids, rubbing my numb fingers over them, brushing away the flakes or something. Like I would try to make it more present, but in past tense though. Anyway, let's keep it going. Here we are. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, there's an M dash. Uh-oh, is Sarah J. Maas using AI? She has a second one here. By the way, just for the argument's sake, this is what they mean when they talk about AI, where it's like, uh, they would remain until the bark came, then travel north past the wolves' territory. Perhaps into the fairyland. Like that. This is what they mean. This is where I feel like the AR argument has like blown out of proportion. When they're talking about, oh, you're using M dashes, it's because AI will like put a whole bunch of them just scattered around. But if you're using M dashes uh, purposefully as they're intended, because this is here, there were no telltale trees stripped of bark to mark the deer's passing. They hadn't yet moved on. This is like a quick aside or a quick qualifier, right? Could you do this? You could. Could you do this? Yeah, why not? Right? It's a choice. The thing is, this keeps it moving. The M dash in this moment keeps the qualifier or the aside flowing inside the thought process. So, but she also has one, two, three, four. She has four M dashes on the first page. And for people nowadays, if they saw that in a quote unquote new writer, oh, well, this came out during AI. I would say if somebody says that to you, don't worry about it. If you didn't use AI, that's all that matters. Because again, I've talked about this, I think last week. You only need so many people to buy your book. You need 10,000 fans. And America, the states alone have, what is it, 300 million people. So 10% of that is 30 million. and then 10% of that is 3 million. So if you get 1% of 300 million people, which is 3 million, to even notice your brand, you're doing well. And if the 3 million and first person is one of those that's like, you use AI, and you know in your heart you don't, that is not your person. It's important. It's important. It's important to be confident and courage and stand by what you know and what you believe. You know. Now, if you are using AI to write, I would I would say sit down for a little bit, think about it, and be like, is this what you want to do? Because there was this thing in the news just recently with the woman who she wrote like 200 books in a year. She makes six figures, and all the books are AI generated, and they're very bad. Like I went and looked at them. I read a couple of the samples you could do on Amazon. But the thing is, she made all that money. She was able to write. She was able to produce 200 books. And now people who want to be quote unquote writers or people who want to make money are going to hear that process and be like, oh, if I just generate 200 books, no one will like them. They'll have the low, stars, but I'll be making money. And it's like that temptation takes away from the art and the passion. I hear you loud and clear with that AI. SB, SB, you are loved. All right. Hey, what's up, Angel Faye? Lovely people. All right. Here's something that's interesting. If I didn't leave soon, I'd have to navigate my way home in the dark. And the warnings of the town hunters still rang fresh in my mind. Giant wolves. Look at this. They use the colon. I love it. Can't go wrong with a colon, right? If you're worried about colons, I read this. What was this? The comment. I hate this comment. Let me read it. The famous author quote about using semicolons. Kurt Von Jesus, need my brain. Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut says, do not use semicolons. They are transvestite hermaphrodites representing absolutely nothing. Okay. All they do is show you've been to college. So in 2005, A Man Without Country, he said that. They're unnecessary and ugly. And he also, I think if I remember correctly, he also says you're allowed one semicolon in a book. And when I hear stuff like that, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Oh, Emma. Oh, and Emma, you need to collab to your YouTube about covers. I'm here. Woo, woo, woo. All right, everybody, let's get to it. All right, I don't remember the character's name for this. A court. Okay, a court of thorns. Yeah. I love, right? There's nothing wrong with a semicolon. Plus, it looks like a wink. We rewriting. Yes, we are. Well, we're doing what we can. All right. It's cold, and she is in the forest hunting. Waiting. All right. Okay. Hunger. Ooh, very. Woo. Hunger. All right, so basically I'm setting up I'm just doing a quick outline. And what I'm doing is, what are the important elements here? So She is the main character is important. The fact that it's cold, she's in a forest and hunting is important. So those are elements I have to replicate. She is hungry, right? Because hunger had brought me from here. Right, is hungry. She has a few hours before the sun goes down. It's dangerous to get home from here. Message me on Discord. Okay. Okay, the animals had pulled in, going deeper into the woods. All right. Has been tracking them. Okay, that's important. This is thus. Oh wait. Thus she is cold. I use the semicolon. She's what the hell? She's cold. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay. I had clips of this book constantly jumping on my TikTok. Thankfully they stopped. Well, you know, hopefully, I don't start them up again by doing this video. Let's see. She's cold. Here we are. Ooh, she's hunting deer. Oh, the other thing that's important is the wind has covered up her tracks. All right, so what am I doing right now? I am figuring out what the plot points that are necessary. Now, again, this is a really fun exercise to also learn how to outline a chapter or how to learn how to outline beats without going into crazy detail. So, for example, she's the main character. I have to establish her point of view. It's cold and they're in a forest and she's hunting. I don't have to explain how it's cold yet. I don't have to explain that it is a forest and what it looks like, and I don't have to explain that she's hunting. I just need this note so when I'm writing, I can move it through those elements. Now, could I do what she did where it's like, let's start with cold, and then let's go to the forest, and then let's go to that she's hunting? I could. But the idea for these quick outlines like I'm doing is just to understand the beat and rhythm of information that needs to be established. Oh, by the way, I made a face on this. I shuddered, skittered down my spine. Not a fan of that line up there. I was okay. I was enjoying the read, and I got to that, and I was like, come on, Maas, Maas, you're doing such a good job. Why does it have to go down? I could feel it down my spine. This to me is equivalent to my knuckles whitened as I squeezed them because I'm angry. Okay. I message you then. All right. That was all I could do. All I'd been able to do for years, focusing on surviving the week, the day, and the hours. Now, this could actually go through a free discourse. What is it called? Um, uh, called the free indirect discourse. So when you're writing in third person, free indirect discourse is thought. It's like I need this thing. This is exposition we need. That was all I could do, all I'd been able to do for years, focus on surviving the week, the day, the hour, right? So if you're writing in third person, limited, you don't have to put italics or she thought or they thought or whatever, you can just place the thought within it. It's what you call it? If I remember correctly, what's her name? I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up. It's a famous author. I don't know why I can't remember her name. Who started using? It's Jane Austen. Jane Austen. Got to give credit where credit's due. Jane Austen in 1775 to 1817 is deemed the pioneer who turned this technique into a staple of English fiction. The technique is in a form of third-person narrative that adapts the tone and consciousness of a character without using explicit markers such as she thought, they thought, he said. It also and avoids italics. It allows for a mix of irony and sympathy as the narrator's voice remains separate yet closely aligned because you're in third person limited. Well, Austen pioneered it in English. Authors like Goethe in Germany and later Gustav Flaubert. I'm horrible at reading names. Notably in Madame Bavaria, also redefined and heavily used the technique. Significance. It is often described as the novel's one and only formal contribution to literature. That's fine. Anyway, so there you go. There you go. Any questions? Any thoughts? I always like them. All right. Focus on survival. And now, with all the snow. Hey, what's up? I must have fallen asleep. Howdy diddly do, y'all. Only a few hours of daylight remain if I didn't leave soon. Giant wolves. These are important notes. All right. Yes. Hmm. All right, give me a second. I'm just trying to put the idea into my head. I need to finish a final edit on my manuscript, and then I will publish it. You know what you get for that, my friend? Super applause. Proud of you, man. Proud of you. All right. I'm working. I'm working. Trying the image I'm trying to get is I want her to be in the tree. Oh, I have the thing on. I want her to be on the tree, and I want to sort of pop us in. Like imagine the first scene, the first shot is like snow is like, and she's like steps back and she's on the tree, right? So that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to. I want to do snow first, right? Smashing. Snow cracked down. Smashing by. We could just put her name here. Okay. This would be a semicolon. She leaned back against the cold of the tree. Oh. Actually, I should say tightening. Tightening. Oh. Oh. She held with bark. Snow crack. Okay. What we got here? Hey, Ro. All right. Where was I? Hey, Ro. All right. Snow cracked down. Okay, so this is a good line though, but the goal is not to use what she wrote. So let's see. The forest had become a labyrinth of snow and ice. So this is what I want. Snow cracked down. Smashing. Guess I could do this now. She leaned. Okay. Snow cracked down. Thrashing branches. Smashing branches. Yeah. Snow, use of snow and crack. Well, because it's supposed to be cold, it's supposed to be icy, so it's like the snow is like stiff. So I'm trying to be like a crack that has weight. So if it cracks, it means it has weight, and then it's going to be like thrashing on the branches, and it's going to cause. And then I'm going to get to the forest, and then I could describe the forest. Cool Afghani. I keep getting stuck in the middle. Can't seem to move forward, sideways, or back. I'll protect you, Em. Hey, Emma. Snow crack down, thrashing. Branches. Snow. Something like that. Oh, good. I spelled everything right. No, Thomas uses Pepsi, not Coke. Howdy, Al. When the last time you saw Thomas without a Pepsi? I don't know, Friday? When I had some iced tea last week, I think. Definitely had water just recently, right? Pepsi Light. Hey, Thomas. No, I can't do Pepsi Light. This is a diet wild cherry Pepsi. All right, let's do this. Okay. Snow cracked. Thrashing. Oh, crack. Branches. As it thrashed. Why do I feel like lunge is spelled wrong? Lunge. Hmm. True. Is water in that can? He's just after the sponsor. Yeah, I just want the sponsorship, but there is water in the can. It just tastes like Pepsi. If he used regular Pepsi, we'd never see him. He Oops. Okay. All right. Snow cracked. Broke branches as it thrashed. A collapse of ice. Uh, the cold of the tree. I like that. Ray leaped back against the cold. I just don't like it against, but leaped. Mm. Against the cold of the tree. Drops to the rough bark. Oh, she held. Yeah. Rough bark. She tightened her bow. She tightened her bow. Closed her eyes. There. We'll be having words, Thomas. As long as I get a conversation from you, that's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth getting yelled at. You know, when good people give you their time, even if they're yelling at you, you could just watch and you just be like, "Oh, look at her, she's yelling. Oh, look." Right? Plus, Emma's really short, so there's no real threat. You know, but like at the same time, it's like, oh, you just like, but like at the same time, you're getting yelled at. So there's a lot of room to weigh out, for the pluses and the minuses. Snow cracked and broke branches as it thrashed on a collapse of ice and slush. I don't know of ice. Oh, yeah, white ice. How about a collapse of white ice? White ice? Bro, leap white ice back. Cold tree. She tightened her bow and closed her eyes. All right, I think we're getting somewhere. All right, snow cracked and broke branches as it thrashed in a collapse of white ice. Ice? We could just say, nah, I like white ice. Faye leaped back, wrapping her arms to the cold of the tree. She tightened her bow and closed her eyes. Bark ripping at her. We use the restroom? Rushed. Oh, wait, you know what we could do? We could actually change this. Extreme. Stern words, extremely stern words. The best, according to Mummy. The best is yet to begin. All right. My brain isn't really working. Okay. Ow! Had an itch on my nose. Rushed behind her, weight and strength pounding. Could a rage of winter rushed behind her, weight and strength pounding on impact? All right. No. Q air lifted from bathing her in a breath. Frozen. I don't know. Cool air lifted from the fall, bathing her in a breath of frozen. Trying to get the words out today. I don't know what's going on. All right. Rage of winter rushed behind her, weight and strength pounding on impact below. Cool air lifted from the fall, bathing her in a breath of frozen sting. She loosened her hands. legs and the branch. Actually, what I should do is calm of nature settled in the dark. Okay, so it's like her eyes are closed, right? She loosened her hands and rested her legs in the thick branch. Frey sat, turning to the forest. All right. I like the labyrinth. Snow and ice. We'll pop that in there right there. Boop, 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 boop. All right, let's do pop, pop. Okay, let's see what we've got so far. Snow cracked and broke branches as it thrashed in a collapse of white ice. Fairy, leaped back, wrapping her arms to the cold of the tree. We could just say cold tree, but boop. Cold tree. She tightened her bow and closed her eyes, the rough bark gripping at her. A rage of winter rushed behind her, weight and strength pounding on impact below. Cool air lifted from the fall, bathing her in a breath of frozen sting. The calm of nature settled in the dark. In the dark of settled beyond the dark of her eyes. She loosened her hands and rested her legs on the thick branch. Frey sat, turning to the forest, a labyrinth of snow and ice. Okay. All right. All right, we're about an hour in. See, this is already a lot better. What do I know? What do I know? No, so let me. We did about an hour, so let me explain what I'm trying to do here. I really like putting the reader into like behavior, and I want like a physical sensation that we are watching something. That's the cinematic third person limited that I like to go for. I like to set a shot. And in my mind, this is setting a shot, right? It's establishing like she's in a forest. It's a labyrinth of snow and ice, so it's thick. I get it. I understand that. Um, but what I would do is I would actually make that the environment. So as she's moving through the environment, as she's sitting on that tree, as she goes down, right? Like I would turn the forest into a labyrinth of snow and ice. And the reason I would do that is because I like to maintain a consistency with the physical presence of the character and the physical presence of the environment. So in a sense, I'm also giving the environment some behavior. We are feeling and seeing that she's on a tree that's covered in snow. The snow is so cold, it's icy, so therefore the snow cracked and broke branches as it thrashed into a collapse of white ice. Frey leapt back. There's just instant behavior. She's making an instinctive survival move, which means that she's used to doing this or it's something that's very common to her. So I wanted to show her being capable, but at the same time, she's in a dangerous environment. So we already know the environment is dangerous. So, and she wrapped her arms to the cold tree. She tightened her bow. We know she has the bow, and closed her eyes, the rough bark gripping at her. So now I want to play with the snow continuing down. The snow hits, a rage of winter rushing behind her. You know, just weight and strength pounding on impact. You know, like, and then the cool air lifted from the fall, bathing her in a breath of frozen sting. You know, like, Like, oh, I could feel it, the chill, or ooh, frozen sting. Sting. The calm of nature settled beyond the dark of her eyes. Actually, this would be a new movement. Boop. And then we'd go. She loosened her hands and rested her legs on the thick branch. Hey, that's fine. Yeah. All right. Frey sat, turning to the forest, a labyrinth. So, what I like to do is I like to try to picture the scene and what the shot is, as if I'm watching it. Now, do I think anything she wrote here is bad or good? No, that's opinion, right? Like I like or dislike is opinion. Is her writing good? She is a good writer. There's a lot she's doing. She's doing a lot in a short amount of time. Yes. Preference and like what we want is different. And that's the point of author's voice. I am basically setting up this, right? I haven't, this would be my next beat. I set up this opening, but I set it up through what I call movement. The movement is that we are constantly feeling the narrative pull us through what is happening. All right. So this for me sits too much. I don't feel there's a lot of movement. Like we're not being pulled through the narrative. We are learning the narrative. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a style. It's my author. I like the author voice to pull the reader. So the forest had become a labyrinth of snow and ice is a statement, right? There's no movement. It is world building, though, right? It could be considered plot. I'd been monitoring the perimeters of the thicket for an hour and my vantage point in the crook of a tree. Like we are automatically sitting with her, which is also fine, by the way. That again is a choice. Do we want to slow the pace and just sit and let the character define the world for us? That's fine too, But this could also turn into first person, right? It's a reaction to collapse away, wrapping my arms to the cold tree. I tightened my bow and closed my eyes. The buck gripping at me. All right, I rage and I rush behind me. Whoa, wait, pounding cool air, bathing me. So I could turn it into first person, right? And it still would have the same kind of. She going. Nice. I loosened. My hands are rested. Turning to the forest. Okay. So if I is a I tried to do that. Like ripples in a pool. Yeah. Like you want each kind of like movement to add to the next movement and to sort of build on it, and then like you finally get to a place. Now obviously there is a point where it's too much. And us as writers, when we get to our second or third or fourth draft, we have to learn how to basically how do I say pull it back now. Can you explain why the first two passages are not one paragraph? Yeah, absolutely. So the first paragraph, the first movement is snow cracked and broke branches as it thrashed in a collapse of white and ice. I leap back, wrapping my arms to the cold tree. I tighten my bow. So this is the action. This is her reaction to it. So it's all in the same movement. And this ends the action. I tighten my bow and close my eyes. Now, because that movement is over, snow falls, she leaps, she grabs. There's the resolution. We move to the next movement, which is now the representation of the falling snow after she had avoided it. So now a rage of winter rushed behind her. So it's continuing on, but is now a new movement. She is safe holding the tree away from the actual fall of snow. And of course, we want to describe the snow. Well, you don't want. I want to. I want to describe the snow hitting the ground. So this is all about the snow hitting the ground and pushing wind up. Now the snow has settled, and it becomes. Oh, let me take you thing that, and then it becomes a new passage because we are now in a new movement. The new movement is the description of how it has settled, stopped, and she can now breathe and take a second. So that's why I broke that. That's why if this was all one thing, it's two movements. It's basically describing what is happening, her reaction to it. She is now resolved, and then it's continuing a new action. So that new action should be a new movement. Now, the other thing that I like to do is when I'm writing, sometimes I will, I might end up just writing a big paragraph like this. But as I'm reading it, I will look at things as personified as well. So like a microphone, if the microphone cut off, right? Like let's say I'm like Thomas sat on his live YouTube talking to the audience. The microphone stopped. That technically creates a new movement because the original movement is I'm talking to the audience. The new movement is the mic stopped. So even though the mic is inanimate, I would give that the movement. So the mic stopped and Thomas tapped at it, right? The producer called on the intercom. That's a new movement. What's going on with your mic? I don't know. It's not working right now. You see, like that. Good question, Sean. I'd let that slip by me. Whoa, solid. Yeah, that was a great question. All right. So again, real quick, let me just summarize what I'm talking about here when it comes to voice. I again like to frame my shots. This is more of an observation from the character. Now, even though I went back and I turned it into first person, right? It is still being very descriptive, and it is filtered through the character. The only thing I would probably change is this. I would do this. Like if it's in first person, I let background. Right, or something like that. Like I would add in like an internal beat to it. That's the only thing I would change about the first person, because when you're in first person, you get to kind of play with that. You get to play with the emotions a little bit more. When you're in third person limited, you want it to be more physical or behavior based, and when you're omniscient, you can basically go wild. An omniscient could be like snow cracked and broke branches as a thresh and a collapse of white ice. This forest was known for dropping down, but it did not scare Frey, for she had the instinct of a tiger as she leapt and grabbed to the tree. Like omniscient could go wild. You could do a lot of stuff with omniscient, but it is a different feeling. It is a different presentation. It is a different choice. But at the end of the day, that is what author voice is. It's making choices. Uh, I'm not a I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just giving like for how I chose. So when I read or when I watch a movie or if I watch television, there's certain things that if I'm not enjoying the presentation, the best way to fix that is just when I am writing to not do those things. And something might be consistent or modernized, or something might be like the standard, right? Oh, people are now writing in this presentation, right? Or this, when I say presentation, I mean like the first person. They write, more people are writing first person. More people are writing this, right? The Like here's an example. I do not like miscommunication. I know miscommunication exists, but I don't like miscommunication for the purpose of creating a conflict. I am okay with miscommunication where people don't have all the facts. So when I'm watching a story or a movie, like Ben Stiller obviously is a fantastic career person and he's been doing it forever. I have no critique on his career. But when I watch his movies, what I don't like is it's the fix is a conversation. Like he could literally be like, I threw the cigarette down and it blew up the thing. I'm so sorry. I messed everything up. How do I make it right? Like that's the fix. But instead he just lies again, which I know characters can lie. But like when your solution is to lie more and just see how I get it. It's a comedy. It's supposed to be crazy, right? But when the miscommunication is just not everyone has all the facts, somebody is misinterpreting something, somebody's using their perspective and they're using that as evidence, that I like. Now we're getting into the psyche, the psychology of it. So when I write stories, I try as hard as I can, unless I miss it, to avoid miscommunication, right? I like healthy relationships in stories. Not that I. By the way, healthy relationships doesn't mean I don't have conflict. Doesn't mean people don't fight. It doesn't mean people have bad days. It doesn't mean that they struggle. Healthy relationships means that at the end of the day, they are going to communicate their feelings even if they don't agree, because whatever. So when I watch movies or if I read a book and the conflict is simply just character A has an attitude and character B refuses to listen, and you have to watch that for an hour or you have to read that for three, like I'm just it's it's there. It's so often. I'm not saying don't do it, but I see it so often. I don't want to write it. And that is author voice. It's what we choose to present in our stories. It's what we choose and how we choose to present it. All right. Now that's just narrative speak. When it comes to your presentation, okay, your the prose. Um, Again, maybe you're thinking in scenes, maybe you're thinking in frames, maybe you're thinking from deeper sensation. Using more sensory elements is an author choice. It is a part of your choice. The only thing I would always recommend, uh, and I say this a lot, is the perspective is the descriptor. Meaning, first person, how you describe everything has to come through the emotional true experiences and choices of your characters. If it's third person limited, you can come back a little bit. You could be a little bit lighter with how you describe things, but it still should be through the POV or the emotional truth of the character. And of course, omniscient, again, you could kind of go wild because the narrator is the POV, and therefore how they are presented through the narrative is important. So when you're writing, it is not always about the words you want to write or, hey, look at how pretty I can write. It's what would this character feel? How would they think? Are they artistic? Are they more mechanical? Are they logical? Do they like this? Do they like that? What are their positions? And that all dictates it. Now, of course, you're going to run into what we have fingerprints. So let's see. To the cold arms, wrapping my arms to the cold of the tree. This is a fingerprint. I kind of like that little. I like a little elevation to the writing. Okay, I took that out before. There's a little elevation to the writing. The way the things I put the camera on. I like to put the camera on items and the nature, and it's not always about what the character is doing. It's what the environment is doing around the character and how the character is reacting to that. The calm of nature settled. That is a fingerprint. That's something that you'll find a lot, especially in Death of a King. I like to personify things, whether it be nature, whether it be animals, whether it be, a sword, whatever. I like to sort of elevate that language a little bit. That's a fingerprint. So even if I'm writing the noir, even if I'm writing the sci-fi, that kind of texture, that fingerprint is still going to be there. And that's something you shouldn't worry about. If you're using certain kind of words and phrases a lot and you're noticing it and you don't want to do that, make the choice to sort of fix that. But if it's your fingerprint, it's your fingerprint. So there's nothing wrong with taking a style from like a fantasy to a sci-fi to a noir to whatever, romance, whatever. You're allowed to put your fingerprint on there. The only thing I would always stand by is the POV. make sure what you are writing is coming through the truth of the POV. That's my only input. Oh, M, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was trying. Yeah. Movements. M is referring to when I was talking about the passages. This is for anybody who's just jumping in right now. Basically, how to connect the movements. All right, so there you go. I did a little bit of writing. Boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, boom. Let's get to the. Oh, if you have any questions about what I did, I know we got some questions, but if you got more questions, feel free to ask me. If you have questions about your own writing, your own author voice, please ask me. And then we will get into it. Let's talk about. Let me do the thing real quick. All right, since most of the viewers here are people that know me, this is strictly for people who are coming for a second view. Boom! I have some books available currently. Right now, we have Death of the King exclusively on the Scribe tier on Patreon. We are getting deep into the second act, so there are a lot of chapters available. If you join now, you can catch up. But it's a chapter a week. However, there is a bunch on there currently. This book, thanks again, bye to everybody. I've been some more sales this month. We're looking good this month, so thank you very much for all the support, especially if you're sharing it out there and I can't see it. If I don't see you guys sharing it and you don't see me responding to it, I assure you I am grateful beyond any words that I can represent. For anyone to give me their time is just thank you. And of course, this book is available. I am on the second book. We are working on the formatting of it, so we're getting there. By the way, this is not the cover of the book, but where is it? What happened to it? Oh, this is not the actual cover of the book. I just have this here. The Norwar book. So for anyone who is on the Scribe tier, this book will start being published on there. Let me look at the date. On Monday the 30th, which is March. It'll be the first week, so chapter 1 will be available on that week. It's only going to be the 0 drafts because that's what I'm on, but as I develop the book and as I get closer and closer, I will start adding. So once I get to the first drafts, then I will start doing what I do. Also, Legacy of Blood. My buddy just started reading this book as well and giving me some alpha notes on that. I'm really so happy about that. So this is the second book in the Maven Wars. The Maven Wars! Other than that, please subscribe if you like what you've been watching but haven't gotten to it so far. And you're like, yeah. Ba-ba-ba-bum. And, of course, you got to bloop that beard and bloop that like button. All right, let's get into it. Shadow Daddy in a trilby. Look, you can't go wrong with a Shadow Daddy, all right? Wow, that water tastes good. All right. Chapter 7? Chapter 8? Ro, are you saying you're on chapter 8 of the Western you're working on, or chapter 8 of the wait, did you send me something? Did you send me an outline to something? I have to look at my email. I could have swore I don't know if it was a dream or not. I think you sent me something. I have to respond to it. If I haven't already, please forgive me. Please forgive me. More sales, more touch, more Pepsi, please. All right. That's funny. Let's do it. Poll. What videos do you want more of? Ooh, look at this. Wow. Wow. We got a switch in okay, so there's 12 votes. We got outlining. We got outlining, explanation, and examples. All right, we have 38% with that. I could do that. I could get into the outlining. I can really hanker down and make the channel more about outlining. Oh, I'm glad that 31% chose prose and analyst breakdown. I was really thinking of moving on to upping that. I was thinking of making the channel focus more on that. Like, I did want to do more outlines, so I'm glad that you picked 38%, and I want to do more on the prose analyst. I have a lot of fun doing that. I have a lot of fun reading it and trying to break it down in real time to show you how the developmental editor brain works. Character development and dialogue, 23%, and then real-time writing examples. All right. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start changing the second half of my schedule because I have a lot of videos filmed, but I might just not air those videos that I have filmed and maybe start making some more videos about that stuff. So I will be I'm glad. All right, so we'll end that. Thank you so much for helping me with that. I'm always trying to do what I can to give you guys what you need. other than that. By the way, let's do answers. Oh, what do we got? I've edited. Hey, show me the money. Woo! I've edited chapter 17 this week. Flowers, that's fantastic. I'm so happy that you're getting through it. And remember, it's not a race. You know, please never judge yourself against other people. Like, you're doing fantastic. I'm so proud of you. I mean, just to get to editing, right? That means you wrote the book, and now you're on editing. You're on, doing the work. So I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you. Oh, of this book, the 27 blah blah. Yeah, man, that's great. Chapter 8. Let's see. Where is that? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you're on section 2. A problem disrupts the protagonist's life, which is Act 1. So plot point 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, that's a good chapter. Good chapter. Yeah, just for anyone who doesn't know, for anyone who's watching this on a replay, the book he's talking about is the 27 plot point outline, which is this. The book isn't only about outlining. It actually is a deep dive into explaining narrative and how narrative works and what you should be. So even if you're a pantser, like writing towards certain things, that's what the book is for. The second half is more about outlining, and it shows you it shows you short form, extended, and zero drafts. So it shows you how to outline using, and also my process talks about that as well. But the first half is really just the breakdown of narrative and explains it. So, feel free to know that it is not, hey, you should outline. My book is definitely not, you should outline. In fact, the thesis that I start the book off, the introduction, is ultimately like, I believe pantsing and outlining is ultimately all discovery. So I'm very clear on that. I do not believe you should have to do either or. Yeah, I sent you something. Not a big. I will get to it, Ro. I will absolutely get to it. I apologize. You know that. I'm never. Please do not take it as if I'm ignoring you. I assure you, you're one of my peeps. Okay. We like that you know what we like. Yes, I know. You like when I sing and drink the Pepsi. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. Okay. Nicely done, Flowers. Yes, fantastic with that. Fantastic. Voted for character development and dialogue, but also interested in prose and analysis. Yeah, I'm going to start doing a lot more of that. I like the outlining stuff, and I want to get into that more. I think I kind of strayed away from it. I will be tackling more character stuff. And then, of course, I'm definitely going to, I think, deep dive into those prose and analysis. All right. For like the regular, stuff. I'm going to get through this edit and use the book alongside the second edit as I move through. I love it. I love it. And remember, Flowers, you can ask me questions. Don't be shy. Don't think you're imposing. If I'm busy and I can't help, or I'm doing something, I am very vocal. I like communication. I am not the miscommunication guy. So if you reach out to me and I have the time, I will always. At worst, I'll say, hey, let me get back to you on this. I'm a little busy, but I will get back to you because I love you. I did want to keep it for the next book, but I'm going with that. Is it because you read the outline book and you're like, you know what? Maybe let me see what I can do with this. Let me see. Hey, what's up? Hey guys, again, a bit late for the show. Damn work. I need to be a writer, billionaire just like Roland. By the way, Ghoul Hungers. If anyone's not following Ghoul Hungers, this guy was working out in his videos. I was impressed, man. Look, you're a big guy. He's like, what was that, 3,000 pounds you were lifting? I was like, I remember those days. I used to be like a gym rat, but not like a gym rat, yo, bro. I was more like a gym rat, like heavy metal guy. I would go at like midnight when no one was there, and I'd just lift metal when heavy metal was playing. So like it brought back memories, is all I'm saying. I don't take it bad, you're a busy guy. You've gotta write sometime. That is true. Are there videos back up? Are their videos back up. Oh, on his YouTube? No, I'm talking. Oh, I'm sorry. On his Instagram, on Ghoul Hunger's Instagram, he put some workout videos and fantastic form. Very big guy. Thank you. I do my best. All I now need to do is transform my discipline into writing. I mean, if you could take what you did for getting big and put that into writing, you'd have like 10 books out already. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, it's amazing. It's amazing what you could do with a little bit of discipline. Do 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 do. Yeah. Oh. All right. Okay. Where are we? Oh, so yeah, answering audience questions. If you have any questions, let me have them. Give them to me. Give them to me. Time difference is a pain. Oh, that's true. Mid-afternoon, and I'm in full flow, and there's Thomas squinting at his coffee. That's true. I'm like up and at it. Like 12 noon my time, so 5 o'clock your time. I'm like awake. I'm at my desk, probably starting my day. We don't know. But the brilliance of technology is you could leave the message and then I can find it later and be like, oh, hey. Anyway. All right. By the way, I want to say thanks to for the compliments. When I do these rewrite the greats, it does help motivate me to keep going. That A, you're enjoying it, and B, you're liking the rewrites. But again, just for anyone who's watching who doesn't know me, I am not rewriting it as a look at me. I am rewriting it as an exercise. I am rewriting it as an opportunity to try to motivate people. I am writing this stuff to get other authors to look and analyze at writing and then say, how do I put this in my voice? I'm not doing this just to be like, look, I can write. I do this kind of stuff for fun as well, because this is how we improve our craft. This is how we develop ourselves, I am working on my YouTube, just takes more time. I have plenty of stories I need to translate, make some visuals and make it awesome. First should be upload on Tuesday, Wednesday. Fantastic. I am subscribed, so I'll be waiting. I'll be watching. Translate. Yeah, because I'm assuming you write in one language and then you have to translate it to another. You know what's really funny about languages? Like I might have mentioned this once or twice, but like Italiano is like grazie, right? That means like thank you, right? And then there's gracias, which is thank you, and then there's gracie, which is Latin for thank you. But none of them mean thank you. It's a loose translation for the thank you, but the word means grace, or denata. It doesn't mean, like when you say gracias and then you go de nada, it doesn't mean thank you, you're welcome. It means it was nothing, of nothing, right? A de nata, of nothing. But it loosely so I like that concept of language, which is why I do the language videos on the channel as well. That's more for me. I definitely enjoy those. But I love language because language is just a loose translation to something else. And I've always found that fascinating. But, German, of course, is Sprechen Sie Deutsch, right? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? You speak German, right? Sprechen Sie, right? So, because it's dramatic, it's really closely related. English is really closely related to the Germanic language. So I always find that very, a Dankeschön, or wunderbar, or guten Tag, right? Good night, or Tag, good day, guten Tag. Anyway. It's just interesting. I went on to a tangent because of the translate. Ghoul Hungers was saying it translates. But when it comes to translating, like that is the interesting factor, is like if it goes from one language to another language, is the translation isn't word for word. You know what I'm like? It's not. It is like a loose translation. I love writing in English, but I can hit the wall too often, especially on the poetic prose, and sometimes I simply lack words. Yeah, that's fair. As someone who I speak Italian and I write Italian, right? But it is my second language. So like I actually have the reverse, where if I'm writing in Italian or if I'm trying to speak Italian, sometimes I hit the wall quicker, like you're saying, where it's like, oh, what do I say? And I'll do the English version. But also, like, when I worked at the pizzeria when I was 12, I know, different time. Um, one of my buddies from Argentina who worked there, uh, he would speak in broken English, um, and then he would get like stuck, and then he would just start saying whatever the word was in Spanish. But what was interesting is the owner was from Sicily, so he barely spoke English, and he spoke mostly Sicilian Italian dialect, and his son spoke English and Italian, so he would actually have to translate for his father. But what was really nice is the boss and the guy from Argentina and the guy from Mexico, right? They all were able to talk in their own language and still had because it's the romantic language, right? So they all had an understanding as it was. So it was really interesting to be around that and to be around that kind of like the camaraderie. And even though they were speaking the differently, I don't know, it was very enlightening for me. It's probably why I really like being around people from different cultures. I like being around people who speak different languages. I like being around people that have different viewpoints, because you could just learn so much, even just by listening. Like I really, from 12 to about 16, I got like a whole world of experience and a whole world of education from just the way they look at life and the way they experience life. So it was always something interesting. I did too. Worked pizzerias all over Germany. Oh, well, you're from the Deutschland. In my early life, then got into armed forces. Now, if I don't know how it works there. Is it the same? Like, because I know in Italy, I believe, I don't know if they changed it, but you were required to serve X amount of years, just like I think Norway is supposed to serve it. Does Deutschland require you at a certain age to serve X amount of years? Because because Arnold Schwarzenegger says in his book that he was required to serve X amount of years, but he's not from Deutschland or Germany, but he's from where is he from? The Austria. So I wonder if that's true. I feel your pain, good hunters. Thing is, I is English, and words still fail me. I love it. I'm reading chapter 28 after the live. They've spotted each other. Oh, you're on Mudslinger. Mudslinger. I really hope you're enjoying that book. But also, I hope that you're learning stuff from it. Like you're getting some good something out of it. Um, yeah, I think you're on Mudslinger, right? Mudslinger. Yeah. Oh no, you're on Echoes. You're on Echoes. You're on Echoes. Oh, yes. Oh, I love that chapter. I love that chapter. Echoes. Yeah. Enjoy that. Enjoy that. All right. Well, good thing we have dictionaries and thesauruses. Thesauruses you would think would be extinct by now because of the meteor. Okay. I'm not German. I am Slavic. Ah. Just traveled around the world and did many jobs. That's awesome. That's fantastic, man. I'm jealous. I kind of wish I could see the world like that. I have a theory, but I will stay quiet. Oh yes, stay quiet. Look, you could always whisper the theories to me privately, but I will never give away the truth. I will never give away the truth, but I do like hearing the theories, By the way, Flowers, you're getting close to chapter 32, and that's one of my favorite characters comes into the story, I should say, and yeah, yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I also like, one of my favorite parts about that book, Flowers is talking about Death of a King, is the Iliad. I really like writing the bard because I am a musician and I love music in a sense, and I just like the way I could kind of like, what did I feel when I used to play music or when I was on a stage, or what I felt when people were listening, and it's nice to kind of filter that through her, but like also through like how she might accept it. She has a little bit of cockiness to her, a little bit, but she's also very humble in some senses. So it's really nice to get to write those musical elements. And anyone who doesn't know, one of the I have many magic systems in the Maven sagas, and one of them is actually not all people who play music and not all people who are bards can do it, but there is like a bard magic system that has to do with vibrations and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. I am looking forward to the coming Patreon tier content. The writing tips you provide before each chapter of Death of a King are helpful. I have been copy and pasting the tips into a deck. That's awesome. Yes, please, Kyle. Yeah, those tips are there for you. You know, they're I'm writing them. I want people to learn. I want people to understand. Yeah. If you didn't hear, Sean, I am actually starting to release the Norrois on the 30th of this month, which would be the first. Technically, it starts the first week of April, but it'll be because it's the first. But it'll be on the Monday. And there you go. Boom. Boom. But it will only be the 0 draft. But like I said, as I finish the book and I get to the first draft and then the second, like I'll start uploading that stuff, She is ballsy. She is very ballsy. Yeah, she don't take no crap, But I will say this: everything happens for a reason, and everything you're experiencing is for a. But there is always a payoff to everything. Everything. Okay, about writing. I usually do 4 to 5 pages short stories, but I have written something that doesn't want to end. Potential novel. Oh. Shall I play to my strengths and rewrite, or risk and follow the story? My friend, follow the story. Our job as writers is to ask questions, but it's also to serve the narrative. Do not restrict yourself inside the walls of inaction by saying, I don't normally do this. You might end up getting something amazing out of that. The point is, see where it goes. Like you do with working out, right? Go to fail, right? And then push past it. So if you're having that quandary, that wonder, like, hey, I normally only do the shorts. Should I do that? Boom. Push through that fail and see how far you could go to work that muscle. Get into it. This edit is my tidy up. I will look further into the PDFs in the next round. Ooh. This edit is my tidy up. I will look further into the PDFs. Oh, I am saving it into TJB says documents. Mr. TJB. That's funny. That's what my coach used to call me, TJB. TJB, get over here. When I was in football, they used to call me the Beast, and I was not. That was the irony. They were like, "Get over here, Beast. Come here," because of Bellezza. They'd be like, "The Bellezza Beast." I was not a beast. Yeah, but like, could you stop calling me Beast? The Beast. The JB. Anyway, well, I'm glad you're reading. Oh, that means you read. Oh. Did you like Flowers? Since you read the chapter Silation, did you enjoy the new creatures, the new species that show up? Where they're all like basically look like hyenas, but they're humanoid. I was like, oh, I gotta slip these in here. What do they call the Horidans? The Horidans, right? Horidin. The Horidin. Trying to build in the world. They were cute, right? They were cuddle cute. Like, oh, I want to cuddle this one. Yeah, no, I get it. They were cute. I'll borrow that. You get the files. You could just go to Patreon. You have the tier. All you gotta do is go there and download it. Flip, 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 flip. It's free. Well, I mean, you got to pay for it, but you pay for it is what I'm saying. Go get them. Go take it. There's a lot of, they're right on Patreon. How many, I think I have a ton of, how many posts do I have on Patreon? Let me see. I have, what is it? I have 355 posts on Patreon. Well, that's including the ones that are scheduled out. But yeah, there's a lot of information on Patreon. if you, for anyone who doesn't know, if you take the scribe tier, you get like everything. Like you get all the stuff from the other tiers, the other 2 tiers, and you get the whole backlog of everything. It's quite full, quite full. That's all I'm saying. Might I add, it's quite full. What is today? The 21st? It's the 21st. Oh yeah. There it is. Boom. Ooh. Chapter 29 comes out tomorrow. Chapter 29 is Mudslinger. That's Mudslinger. Oh, I mean the TJB says, well, she's saying that everything that's in that folder is everything from the Patreon. Are you going to watch the Patreon? All right. You have 16 PDFs. I may have missed some. Well, there should be... what is there? I'll tell you right now. For anyone who doesn't know, you know. Look, that's what we do here. That's what we do here. Tommaso. That's me, right? Tommaso. I have my name in there. It's Tommaso. All right, let's see. There should be... Interesting. There should be at least 24. Maybe 24. There's a lot. There's a lot. There should be about 20, maybe 24. There's a lot. Well, also I split it up because there's the chapter 1 tier, which gives you a bunch of PDFs, and then there's the chapter 2 tier that gives you a bunch of PDFs. 10 I can't count. There's definitely more, but also, yeah, because it should be it should go video, written, and then PDF, right? For the yeah, so that's how it. So it should just repeat that, and then the tier 1, the chapter 1 tier is like shorter versions of that. It is what it is. Anyway, all right. I guess that's it. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow we're doing the Write a Book With Me series. Yeah, write a book with me series. Anyway, I think we're killing it on the other thing, on the Write a Book With Me series. Where are we right now? We're at chapter 3, technically, right? Chapter 3. We are, Write With Me, 0 draft. Are we on first drafts? Yeah. We are on, chapter 1.3. So tomorrow we're going to continue that. I only got like 2 more beats I got to write out on that one. So we might actually finish chapter 1.3 tomorrow. So there you go. There you go. That's something. That's something. All right, other than that. There you go. Okay. It is almost 4, so I guess we'll call it a day so everybody can get to their lives and do what they do. Thanks again to everybody that came out and said hello, joined in. Thanks again for all the questions, whatever the questions were. Thanks for adding some humor and feedback to the conversation. And as always, we try to do what we can do here. Thanks for everything. Have a nice day. Ghoul Hungers. You too, my friend. You too. I'm glad you keep stopping by. And, we'll do what we'll do. All right, so let's call it a day. Yay, nap time. That's right. Nap it up. All right, everyone. I will see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Write a Book With Me series from concept to conception. Let's get to it. I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. As always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.